Hello, today we're talking about classroom decorations and the do's and don'ts. So let's get into the do's and don'ts. We're going to talk tonight about don't overcrowd the room, do decorate with purpose, don't decorate for you, do leave room for the students, don't spend your whole paycheck, and do go easy on yourself. So what do I mean by all of this? When I say to not overcrowd the room, studies show that 20 to 50% of the wall space should be kept clear. This helps to not overstimulate the children. It helps them to maintain their focus on their work and just to not get distracted. When things are up on the walls for a really long time and we're not using them and referencing them, they become like blank space to the kids. They just become like cluttered wall space. They don't use it. If we're not referencing it, they're not referencing it. You don't need it on your wall space, right? Don't overcrowd the room also means in terms of supplies and tools and furniture and toys. We want to make sure that there's enough space for the children to move around and to be able to find what they need easily. If it's something that's a tool just for you, maybe there's a place you can put it that isn't right in front of the children and they think it's something that's for them, right? So don't overcrowd the room is a good general first step for classroom decorations. Decorate with a purpose. So this goes along with the not overcrowding the room, but when we're putting something up on the walls, it really should have a purpose behind it. Why am I putting this up on my wall? Is it for the children? Is it to help them learn? Is it to help them be independent? Then great. If it's for me or because it looks pretty or because the kids might like it, I don't know. Always come back to it needs to really serve a purpose for your students, for your children. So when we're adding labels in our classroom, we want to add labels to help with independence and organization so that the kids can move about the room on their own. If we're labeling every little thing along the walls and the doors and the chair with chair and door, then that just becomes overcrowding, right? The children stop noticing it, they stop paying attention to it, and it doesn't really serve a purpose. Again, the classroom is for the students, right? So can they read and understand what you're putting up on the walls? Think about the font specifically. There are some beautiful fonts out there, but if they can't read it, what's the purpose? Is it because it looks nice to you? Because if it's for the children to help them be independent or to know like what's happening with their day or as a resource, they should be able to read it. So careful with the fonts that you use. Some of those really pretty fonts have those really fancy A's. Those really aren't developmentally appropriate for young children. So be mindful of that. So just constantly be coming back to what's the purpose of hanging this up? Is it helpful to their learning or their independence? Do leave room for the students. So we want to have a space for the children to make the room their own, for them to show off their work and put their own spin on the classroom because it's their classroom and they're part of the community. So it's okay to have blank space, as I mentioned earlier. It's okay to have blank bulletin boards and a spot to hang up student work that's not filled yet. A lot of people worry that having a blank bulletin board will show that the room's not finished, but I have never been questioned by admin, other teachers, parents about having a blank bulletin board. It shows that you're waiting for the students to make it their space, and it really is a welcoming sight. So these two kind of go hand in hand, but don't spend your whole paycheck and do go easy on yourself. We see the Pinterest perfect classrooms, we see on social media, the pictures, the posts, the reels with all the likes. They're beautiful. And of course we want that. But that's one vantage point of one classroom from one teacher who spent a lot of money and time and effort to do that. And if that's something that made them happy, that's great. But they put a lot of effort into making that one viewpoint really, really beautiful. But is it functional? Is it ready for the students? And it's not just the classroom that needs to be ready, you need to be ready. So you really want to spend your summertime getting yourself ready, along with your classroom, to be functional for your students. That's the whole point, to be ready for your students. So your classroom might not look like the Pinterest perfect classroom, and that's okay. That's okay, especially your first couple of years. You can build on that little by little. You can add decorations little by little and change up the bulletin boards little by little, or whatever makes you happy. It doesn't have to all be done that first year. And I certainly don't want you to feel like you have to spend your whole paycheck before you even gotten your paycheck to make your classroom look Pinterest worthy, Instagram ready, right? Because that's not the point. The point is to have to be ready for your students. And we already are asking teachers to spend way too much of their own money on vital classroom supplies and materials. Decorations are really low on the list of things that you should be spending your money on. If it makes you happy, like great. Please don't feel like you have to, right? That's what I'm trying to leave you. If it makes you happy, go do it. If it's worth it to you, absolutely. I certainly have spent my fair share of money on classroom decorations because it made me happy. But I don't want you to feel pressure to compete with veteran teachers or teachers who are just showing their one snippet of their classroom on Pinterest or Instagram, because that doesn't show you the whole picture, right? So please go easy on yourself when you're setting up your classroom. And one little bonus tip for you, which I think is a huge lifesaver: use fabric for your bulletin boards. I've heard tablecloths also work really well, but I technically haven't tried that myself. So I've always done fabric, but it is more expensive. But the fabric lasts forever, forever. I have put it up once and I've never changed it because I actually hate changing the bulletin boards. It does not bring me joy, so I don't do it. And I put up the fabric once and I never have to do it again. The paper, it crinkles, the sun lessens the color, it fades it. That's the word, fades. So I highly recommend fabric. Okay. And yeah, that's my bonus tip. So classroom decoration do's and don'ts. Most importantly, remember, go easy on yourself. Okay. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and see you in the next video.